Hello everyone, this is Susan and welcome to my channel today. So this is my Monday crafty chit chat and slow stitching video that comes out every week. And I have like so much to share today. I'm going to actually even show you two different projects and yeah. So I'm just gonna get going. I'm like super excited if you can't tell. So you always hear me talk about Susan Taylor Brown, and I will have her YouTube link below. After you watch this video, please go over and check her out. So she has inspired this, and I'll explain to you what this is. So she uses a seam ripper to distress, right, to fray, to make it her own, all of her fabrics and laces. So when she's working on clusters, which she likes to do, and then she'll use the clusters on her bigger pieces, she does a lot of distressing with the seam binder or seam ripper. Did I say it wrong the first time? Seam ripper. And so I went down into my my sewing box, well, my mother's sewing box, and to see if there was one in there because I didn't have one up here in my craft room. And there was one. So this is it. It has to be from the 50s or the 60s. It was 25 cents. And it's the deluxe seam ripper. But anyway, so I did find it and I went wild. I'm just saying. I just went wild. I did. I really did. So I've been talking about, you know, I recently finished my first Just Because book, which is also one of Susan's you know, brainchild. You know, she thought that up, and that's kind of her thing. And so I wanted to do another one, but I also wanted to use this burlap that I've had for many years. I have it in multiple colors from Michael's, and it's a long roll. It's actually 4 yards long. And I'm sure at some point I'll cut it and I won't use the whole 4 yards. But I don't know. So I'm going to use this as a Just Because snippet roll. So I asked Susan on her live the other day, last Wednesday, if she ever thought about doing a Just Because snippet roll, and she had thought about it. So this is, you know, this is still Susan. This is all Susan. It's not me. It is totally inspired by her, and I'm having a ball. So what I did was I first put all fabric down and then I took it off because it wasn't the look that I wanted. So so what I have here, and I don't have any of this sewn, but I do want to share with you what my thought process is. So I don't even know where to begin. So I guess I'll just show you the different things that I did. So like here's a little cluster, right? And it has, you know, the fabric. I kind of like made it all distressed and everything. Even this fabric right here, I just took the seam ripper and ripped it everywhere. I took a piece of dyed lace from Fran. Actually, this fabric here is also from my friend Fran. And yeah, so I distressed that. I put a little bit of something similar to this, a little bit of fiber stuff. And I have this cute little cluster. Now, what I'll probably do is go ahead and do some sewing on it so that it stays whole, but I haven't done that yet. Oh, I lost a piece of something. Oh, no, I didn't. Yes, I did. How did I lose something? Oh. Well, anyway, I did. Oh, there it is. Oops, it's on the floor. So then I'm like, well, I have this beautiful, oh, and I have a tip for all of you guys. I have a tip for all of you that I will share. So I don't even know if I'm going to get to the second project today. I don't even know, but oh my gosh. Okay, I'm just going to keep going. I know, I'm all over the place, right? So I like to use scarves, you know, a woman's scarf, the silk ones, the ones that are always so pretty, you know, and I like to use those and cut them up and tear them up and all the whole thing. So I have one that has beautiful flowers on it. And so I cut out this flower right here. I cut out this rose. And so I'm like, well, I want to do something different with it. So I took the seam ripper and I tore up the middle of it. And then I took some of this beautiful deep color eyelash trim. And I put it kind of up from the bottom. And yeah, so that I'm going to sew as well to have, you know, something else that, I don't know, it's just different. It's different for me. It's different for me. Here's another little cluster that I did. Now this one I didn't distress the bottom piece of fabric, but I did distress this piece of lace right here. So this I will sew together as well. Now all of these things I'm planning on getting onto this Just Because snippet roll, but I haven't done that yet. I'm not to that point. I'm just going to kind of move this over because I have to figure out how I'm going to do it and all that. So this little piece right here is kind of what I'm kind of thinking for this Just Because snippet roll. So let me show you what I have here. So this is also a piece of fabric that I had, and I distressed it and made some holes, and yeah. And then I took some of that that lace and I tore it up and I put it through the hole, and I really liked that look very, very much. I also took some of like a muslin type fabric, and I stamped feathers and keys on them. So I have a small assortment from this stamp set right here from By the Well for God, and I used it. So that's why I have some of my stamped images are from that. Okay, so I have this is one right here. So this flower, I figured we could probably do together. So what I did was I have this little bowl over here of, you know, all the pieces of thread that's everywhere. Right? I had to actually empty this bowl and put it into something bigger. And now this is like my second, you know, my second round at filling that bowl up. But I just grabbed some of that because I'm going to use that for the middle of this flower so that it looks something like this red one. So, and again, this is all Susan, but it's so much fun. So just kind of, these seam rippers, I'm telling you, are quite powerful little things. I'm just saying. You would have no idea that they had so much cutting power. That's what I found anyway. But well, I'll show you something else in a second. So anyway, so there's the flower with the hole in it. And so I'm just going to kind of, and it happens to have a pink piece of yarn in it, which I didn't plan for, but that's what came out of that little bowl. So I'm like, that's perfect. So what I'm trying to do is make a distressed or like a messy center of the flower. Like, look at how cute that is. I mean, that's like super duper duper cute. I'm going to zoom in just a tad and let me hold this little flower. Like, that's all I want. That's what I want. That's all I want is that. And I think that that's like super duper duper cool. So I may end up sewing that, you know, somewhere up here. I'm thinking of putting maybe this little stamped feather down here and maybe this over here. But like, I have decisions to make. Like, so I do really like this yellow burlap. Am I going to be, not picky, but am I going to want to cover that up on this Just Because book, or am I going to embrace the yellow? So like this right here, I really like. I like that. So am I going to continue that on? I don't know. You'll have to come back to see. So let me share something. I said I wanted to share something with you. Let me move this, and I'm going to have to move it carefully because, well, nothing is sewn down. So let me move that. And so next week we will probably sew, you know, a bunch of that onto that Just Because roll. So what I wanted to share with you, and I have like a ton of stuff out here. So I have a piece of sari silk that I had tea dyed, but it's very, very light and airy. I thought that would be really, really good to use the seam ripper on. I have these pieces, and it looks like, you know, like some gauze or maybe the cheesecloth, but it's not, I don't think it's either one. I bought these at Michael's around Halloween time, and yeah, so I love these. They're also very pliable, and you can move them a lot. So a couple of the pieces of scarf that I have are these right here. But if you, this is my tip. If you are not used to using scarves to craft with, they are very, very, very easy to distress. They just are. So even if, like, because I've been using these for a while, right? Well, it didn't look like this. This looks like this because of this. But, you know, even, you know, how you cut fabric and then you tear it. Well, even that tearing motion makes it really not just frayed, it really like distorts it, and it's just, it's very interesting. So I'm like, well, wouldn't this fabric be super awesome to use to make distressed? So I did do this one right here, and we're going to do one together because I want you to see. And I have the little piece of this, I don't know what it is, but I have a little piece of it. And again, I like going from the bottom up to the top and then just kind of making it what you want it to look like, right? Whatever that is. Like, I don't know that that's what it is for me, but just as an example, right? Something fun. And then, like for me, for this piece, I was also thinking of sewing on this little key. So something like that is super fun. But let me go ahead and share with you how easy this is to distress with the seam ripper. And if I'm calling it seam binding, just ignore me. Just ignore me. You guys know what it is. Oh my gosh. Okay. So now, you know what? I think I'm going to go with this, with a little piece over here. Let's just kind of cut that. Okay, so see, just by tearing it, it really does, it kind of does its own thing. But so this is, you know, you can come in here and very easily tear this up and have it really get super nice and shredded and have a really nice interesting look on the end. So I think it's because of, you know, what it's made out of. So like these two things are made out of different a different type of, I don't know, silk, whatever. But like you can just like go up the middle. And so again, yeah, I mean, you have to watch Susan do this. She's like the pro. But anyway, so like this one, so it's just yumminess. Like, look at that yumminess. So this silk is softer than this one. So, and I got these, did you see that? Just from one pull. Did you see that? Oh my gosh. I got these, oh, it's just beautiful, from a thrift shop. And I don't know, they were probably $2 a piece, something like that. So tearing these things up and using them for, you know, any of my art, no matter what it might be, yeah, is just fine with me. That's for sure. All right, so you can see how easy and fun these pieces are to rip up and distress. Okay, so that's one thing that I wanted to share with all of you. So let me move. I have to move all of this. I have, look at this pile, oops, of stuff that I have here on my desk. Look at this. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. And I took out some twine. It's heavier than twine. But anyways, I took this out. I thought I could use that. Yep. So, all right. So now we're going to totally change gears. Totally. So this, as you know, is what I shared with you last week. And this is, I'm going to zoom back out. And this is the piece that I made the little patches, right? We had our 12 little patches, all different, and they were all individual. And I was going to sew them together. You know, I was going to overlap them just a little bit and sew them. And then I'm like, well, I recently purchased some muslin at the fabric store. And I pulled it out and I started measuring. So like I put these in the order that I wanted them. They're all pinned right now. This is not, these patches are not sewn onto the muslin yet. But I put them into the order that I wanted them. And I pinned them down. Well, I got them in the order I wanted, right? And then I measured. So I measured, and the patches from one end to the other is basically almost 9.5 by basically just about a foot. So I got the fabric and I tore it bigger, of course, and longer. And I ended up with this. So I'm going to sew these patches onto this muslin, and this is going to be the grand prize of my giveaway in May, right? So my retirement giveaway. So you can see the bottom of it right here. It looks beautiful, right? Nice and frayed, beautiful. And I did iron this piece of muslin to just get it nice and flat. So, and I have the sides, the perfect width. Everything is good. Up on top, what I did was I took and I just folded it over and I ironed it flat. So I haven't decided yet. So the person that gets this can do what they want, right? But, you know, I think about putting a dowel or even a pretty branch from outside, right? Something in here so that it can be hung up. So I have to decide where I'm going to sew. Am I going to sew like here, like in the middle, so that the dowel or whatever can be put up top? Or as I'm saying this, I'm thinking maybe I should sew a good inch and a quarter down. So maybe like here-ish. Because then this way, if the person does use like a branch, then it doesn't have to be super skinny. So anyway, so that will be sewn into a pocket so it can be hung up. And then that's really it. I mean, all of these have to be sewn, of course. So, you know, we'll be doing that together over the next, you know, however long it takes. But I will go around. I'm going to hand. So I'm just going to do the running stitch around each of these squares onto this muslin piece. So I've been busy, right? I mean, and it was funny, once I got to where I was done, right? So this was like the last patch that I had to do, was this one right here. And once I had it done and I started the placement of where I wanted them, it just kind of progressed. It's like, oh, okay, so that's good placement. Well, what am I going to do with it? And I'm like, oh, I have the muslin. Let me pull out the muslin. And then it's like, oh, well, let me measure and see how big a piece of muslin I need. And then I'm tearing the muslin. And then I'm like pinning on the patches. And it's like, you know how it goes. It just kind of kept going. But anyway, so that is my crafty chit chat and slow stitching video for this week. So tell me what you think of this. I think it's pretty cool. I like it. I like it a lot. Yeah, I mean, I'm new to this stuff, so this is like all new to me. But anyway, I do like this very much, and I am in love with this seam ripper. I'm in love with it. And tearing everything up, I'm just, yeah. So, thank you all so much for being here. And I just appreciate you all more than you know. All right. Have a blessed week, everybody. Bye-bye.